As I briefly mentioned in Lesson 2, gluten and dairy are two of the biggest immune disruptors. Regardless of your participation in the AIP diet, it is important to understand how gluten and dairy could negatively impact your health and your ability to heal. It was once thought that gluten sensitivities were only related to celiac disease with symptoms like gas, bloating, stomach pain, or simply feeling sluggish. We now know that gluten and dairy can have significantly worse and far more reaching impacts on our health than we first realized. Depending on your specific health condition and if the AIP diet is necessary for you, you can begin by reducing or eliminating gluten and dairy first and then see how you do. New research about gluten and dairy consumption show that these proteins can impact more than your immune system, your brain as well. Gluten and dairy have been found to cross-react with body tissue. This means it not only triggers an immune reaction to your food, but also long impact on how your tissues recover, like from a workout or from sleeping. For example, gluten can cross-react with thyroid tissue. What does that even mean? It means that eating gluten will cause your body to react to the food, but also cause your body to attack your thyroid, which is why we recommend the labs that we recommend. A recent report found that gluten and dairy can also cause your immune system to destroy brain and nervous tissue. This is called neurological autoimmunity. Over the years, there have been a large increase in people diagnosed with Alzheimer's, Parkinson, autism, childhood development disorders, and other brain disorders. This study shows that the immune system could be responsible by accidentally attacking brain tissue and nerve tissue because it thinks it's attacking the gluten and dairy. I know this sounds crazy, but this is what the research shows, and it's also showing where we're going and how we understand the body. This implies that people with a gluten and dairy sensitivity, most who don't even know they have this sensitivity, have a higher risk of developing neurological issues. Maybe not now, but later on in life. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be alive and not know who I am, or not know my name, or recognize my loved ones. You can have a neurological inflammation and autoimmunity for years before the symptoms become apparent. Again, this is why we recommend the labs. This proves what many of us providers have been seeing at our clinics. Removing gluten and dairy 100% from your diet for 1 month can have a marked positive impact on your brain health. And if you notice that your brain health and function has improved, then eliminate it for a long time. There are plenty of other foods. So far, gluten intolerance has been linked to at least 55 diseases, most of them autoimmune conditions. Keeping in mind diabetes, insulin resistance, prediabetes, these are autoimmune conditions. In our previous lesson, I mentioned food sensitivity testing through Cyrex Lab. I recommend having gluten reactivity tests through Cyrex Labs as well. While only 1 to 2% actually have celiac disease, the number of people with non-celiac gluten sensitivity is estimated to be at least 6 times that. Proper testing is very important, especially since you've already had a compromised immune system to begin with. How do we know that? Because you have fatigue. Cyrex offers a number of different testing options based on your symptoms. You can determine what test is best for you based on your symptoms, and all of that information will be included in the handout in the notes section. One tricky part about eliminating gluten from your diet is that gluten is found in many hidden ingredients. Wheat, spelt, barley, rye, malt, oats, just to name a few. Gluten is also found in condiments and flavorings in many processed foods. Diligently reading labels is key. I will share a list of hidden sources of gluten in the notes section. There are many items on your list you probably had no idea that contain gluten. And now they have labels on food it's a circle with the letter GF on it, makes it really simple. As with any food sensitivity, eating out and traveling can be challenging. But because the number of people with celiac or gluten sensitivity has vastly increased over the past few years, many restaurants now have a gluten-free menu, and nearly all grocery stores have either a section or an area to choose when shopping for gluten-free. Sometimes they're intermixed between the other products, but again, reading labels and looking for a circle with a G and an F on it is very helpful. Or it might have a wheat symbol with a circle and a line around that. Technology is also making this easier. There are a number of apps you can utilize now that will help you with everything from finding gluten-free restaurants to ensuring the food you're eating is completely gluten-free. And here are some of the best gluten-free apps you should look at when you choose to eliminate gluten from your diet. The first apps I'm going to mention here are great if you're looking for a restaurant with gluten-free options. It says, Find Me Gluten-Free. This app is great to use anytime, but especially when you're traveling and aren't familiar with the local restaurants. Based on your location, you can find nearby restaurants with gluten-free food. You can also read customer reviews and make reservations. Allergy Eats. This free app is full of reviews from other diners. They share what nearby restaurants are best for people sensitive to gluten. A great thing about this app is that you can customize it to include other food sensitivities that you might have, such as dairy, nuts, and fish. I Eat Out. This app focuses on finding ethnic, gluten-free restaurants. You just pick what food you're in the mood for, Chinese, Italian, Mexican, Thai, and you can browse menu items and ingredients. Dine Gluten-Free. This app is great for people in the US and those traveling abroad. You can access a large database of restaurants offering gluten-free food. You can read reviews from other diners and even get coupons and discounts. The next few apps I'm going to mention are great for shopping and cooking gluten-free. Food Ucate. This app is $4.99 and it allows you to scan and check barcodes on product. By simply scanning a product, you can see if it contains gluten, dairy, or any other allergen. Cook It Allergy Free is also an app for $4.99. You have access to hundreds of gluten-free recipes. It also helps you find easy substitution for a gluten ingredient or other allergens. It also has a special section to save recipes and create your own list for the grocery store. The Gluten-Free Scanner. This app allows you to scan barcodes to see if specific products contain gluten. There are more than 500,000 foods and drinks in their database. And finally, Suggestic. This is a smart app. You can access restaurant menus and it will suggest specific foods that you may like based on your preferences. These apps are great resources whether you're traveling, meal planning, shopping, cooking, in a hotel room, or at home. If you're traveling in the near future, I recommend you take planning steps, especially if gluten-free eating is new to you. Here are a few tips that have helped me over the years if I've traveled in the States and abroad. Plan ahead. Use the apps above to look up restaurants nearby where you'll be staying. Along with looking up restaurants, look up a few local health food stores too. If there is something specific that I know I will need but can't bring with me, I call and see if that grocery store has it. Or I will ask them to order it ahead of time. Hotel accommodations. If you're staying in a hotel, call ahead and ask for a room with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, or portable refrigerator. We actually bring a hot pot and a pan when we travel. We'll go to the grocery store, get food, and it's not gourmet, but we'll put in the skillet some meat or some vegetables, and we're fine with it. We'd rather eat that and feel good on our trip than feel bad. Shipping food, if you're going to be gone for a long period of time, you may want to ship some food, especially your favorite necessities. A nice perk is that they'll have it waiting for you when you arrive. We've done this many times with our son when he was young. Bring your fancy gadgets. There are a number of convenient travel gadgets that make traveling easier for a person with food sensitivities. Most sporting goods stores now carry a small refrigerator that you can plug into your car lighter. This is great if you want to bring perishables along with you on your road trip. Bring snacks. Bringing snacks with you is key to success. You never know when an unexpected delay could leave you hungry. Bring any of your favorites that are hard to find, whether it be the specific gluten-free bread that you like or pretzel. Maybe it's a frozen cookie, nuts, anything you can stash in your bag will come in handy later. Your stomach will thank you later. If you're traveling international, here are a couple of more things to consider. Make sure you know the language or at least a few key words of the language where you visit. Key words would be wheat, flour, gluten, and dairy. Restaurant cards are also helpful. You'll see one in the notes section. Make sure they are written in the language of the country you are visiting. Celiactravel.com has a translation software you can use to create your own as well. Trust me, sometimes it's easier to just hand a confused person, non-English speaking, or a waiter at a restaurant a card with your sensitivities and requests. Be aware of laws too if you're crossing any borders. Some countries have laws on what foods can and cannot be imported. The goal here is to show you that eating a gluten-free or dairy-free diet doesn't have to be limiting. It may seem overwhelming in the beginning, but with an abundance of resources, you can make this important change for your health and wellness.